This is absolutely sickening. Oilers lock Evan Bouchard into a massive 4-year, $42 million deal. And while his elite offense is undeniable, this cap hit could handcuff Edmonton's future potential moves. Is this a great deal, or could this put the Oilers in a crisis? Hello everyone, welcome back to Oilers Digest. My name is Nikash Ganguli. Hope everyone is having a great day, great time whenever you guys are watching this video. Evan Bouchard is extended. He's going to be at Edmonton Oilers for 4 more years. But before we get into why this contract could be good or why it could be bad, make sure you guys do, of course, subscribe to the channel. Right now, 80% of viewers are not subscribed to Oilers Digest. We just hit 3,500 subscribers. So, if you are one of those people in the not subscribed section, why don't you hit subscribe and join the channel? We are covering all Edmonton Oilers news in the most digestible way fashion here on Oilers Digest. So hit that button. Why not see all our videos right when they come out? So, you know what, guys? Let me not waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So first things first here. If we look at the original report, this is from Chris Johnston. Evan Bouchard is signing a 4-year extension with the Edmonton Oilers worth about $10.5 million for his average annual salary. So, this is a pretty big contract for Evan Bouchard, of course. If we think about it, he did have a pretty strong season. He was drafted, I believe, 10th overall from the London Knights. It was a great pick for the Oilers, one they really needed back then. And he has really blossomed into a superstar-level defenseman for them, especially helping them, honestly, quarterback their defense to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. Despite losing both of them to the Florida Panthers, they still didn't make it. So the contract is super interesting. You don't really see too many of these 4-year deals worth this much money, but as we do know, the salary cap in the NHL is going to continue to rise, so this contract might look better and better. But let me know in the comments, guys, as well. Do you guys like the Evan Bouchard contract? So let's see what other people have to say about the Bouchard contract. Of course, we have Jay Fresh Hockey on Twitter, who is one of the larger advanced analytics people on hockey Twitter. So Evan Bouchard signed by $10.5 million by Edmonton. He's a high-end offensive defenseman who moves the puck very well, has a deadly shot, tilts the ice no matter who he plays with, despite his propensity for the odd boneheaded error. As you can see, Evan Bouchard's advanced numbers are in all the elite categories. All the percentiles are great aside from his even strength defense, but that is what he has Matthias Ekholm for, everyone. So I think this is a pretty decent contract, all things considered, for Evan Bouchard. I know, you might want a little bit more term for that high of a cap hit when you look at his comparables, but we do have to understand all these guys are becoming RFAs and UFAs in the new age of the NHL, where the salary cap is going to keep on rising. We're not stuck in the pandemic state of the cap, where the cap was kind of stagnant. Now, players are trying to get more favorable contracts with less term to make more money, of course. So let's dive in a little bit more into Evan Bouchard and what he does point production wise. If we do look at his contract here, he has in the last few seasons put up an insane amount of points. 67 points in last season, a little bit of a downturn from his 82 point season the year before, but that was up from 40 points. And as you can see, in his real season with the first season with the Oilers in 21-22, 43 points in what I would call his rookie season in 81 games. They're playing 19 minutes of time on ice every game. And what the Oilers realized when Bouchard came in is they didn't need Tyson Barrie. That was a very big part of it. So they shipped him off and got Ekholm actually back in that deal. I wouldn't say Tyson Barrie was a main part of that deal with the Nashville Predators, but he did make Tyson Barrie expendable because he is so good on that power play with the likes of Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, so he has been very solid. And even if we do look here at last season's defenseman scoring in the NHL, you have Cale Makar, Zach Werenski, Quinn Hughes, Rasmus Dahlin, and right there in 5th place, Evan Bouchard with 67 points and 14 goals in 82 games. And he is getting paid similar to his peers, the Cale Makars, the Zach Werenskis, and the Dahlins of the world, and the Victor Hedmans. If you do look at the way the cap is staggering, the Bouchard deal is not as bad as it does look at face value. As I said earlier in the beginning of the video, we are going to have to realize that times are changing in the NHL. These guys are going to start signing shorter deals at big averages, but if we do look at the comparable, like this kind of deal, maybe 3 years ago, is an $8 million deal or a $9 million deal. So if you think about it, it's really not all that bad for the Oilers. And I think getting a little bit more of a sense of security with Bouchard staying, you do have that sense of questioning with Connor McDavid still not signed. We'll see if that extension comes in on July 1st when he's eligible for it, which is tomorrow. And Draisaitl staying, so you at least have those two pieces locked up for at least 4 more years. Now, an important part of Evan Bouchard, too, is how good he is in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Very solid in this past year. He's over a point a game in the playoffs. You don't really get that a lot from defensemen. 23 points, 22 games last year. I know he did have a certain amount of giveaways that people like to point out, but in my opinion, I think Evan Bouchard is a very, very good defenseman of the elite class in the NHL. He does have some glaring defensive issues, but when the point production is this good and he's putting up at over a point per game in the playoffs, I think you have an unbelievable player, and you just got to get someone like that locked up. There's not a lot of these around in the NHL, so I think it is a very solid deal. Not the greatest, not the worst, but I think it's an okay deal for the Edmonton Oilers. So if we do also look at The Athletic from Shayna Goldman on Twitter as well, the contract seems like it's going to age pretty well. There's really no glaring issue of how it's going to look here. I think it's going to be fine. Just there on your right side. Sorry about that. He is at about a market value of $15 million, which is pretty good. So they are getting a lot of cap value here, according to the model at least. I think a lot goes into it. I would say they did fine on this deal. $10.5 million is okay, but I can understand why some people wouldn't like it. If you take that perspective, it's a very high amount of money for not a lot. As I say, you might want 5-6 years at $10.5 million. Especially the way defenseman contracts are going. But someone like Quinn Hughes is up next year, so I think his contract may lead Oilers fans to feel a little bit better about this Evan Bouchard contract. That contract might be a little crazy, but I think this is it's an okay deal. It's an okay deal. I wouldn't say it was a fleece, but to me it is as we said, it is a little bit sickening that they did not get a few more years out of this deal. I think Stan Bowman, he's a veteran GM in the league. He should have been able to get a better value contract out of Evan Bouchard. So that is what, to me, is what I wouldn't like about it as an Oilers fan. Even if we look at his comparables here, also from The Athletic, you can see his highest comparable is John Klingberg from 17-18. I know John Klingberg didn't look great on the Oilers, but he was very good back in 17-18. And even like a 2011-2012 Chris Letang is of the elite class. So those two, if you're looking at those as comparables for Evan Bouchard's play, I think you're in decent shape. So I don't think it's really that bad. But again, it does make me a little bit peeved that they couldn't get a couple more years out of the high average annual salary. So now that we're over with all the stats and all that stuff, let's do a little bit of a future outlook on the Edmonton Oilers and their current cap structure. So they do have about $500,000 in cap space. So there's going to be some bodies to be moved around in that sense. But if we look at the Oilers now, they have a Bouchard, Nurse. So every defenseman, every major defenseman in their top 6 is signed for this upcoming season in 25-26. They have Ekholm, Wallman, and Kulak and Stetchel all UFAs next offseason, but they don't have to worry about that for like about 365 days, so I think they'll be fine for now. Again, that Nurse contract, we talked about that in another video on the channel if you want to check it out, is $9.25 million. They're going to have a hard time moving that. But I think if you really do want to look at it this way, Evan Bouchard only makes $1.25 million more than Darnell Nurse. So if you want to look at it that way, the contract isn't really that bad. But I do think the contract could be a little bit better. But again, number one defenseman, right shot. We just saw how much Noah Dobson got traded for him. The contract he got, 9.5 for whatever. But I think Bouchard is a better player than Noah Dobson if you look at all the point totals. So I don't love this deal, but I don't think it's really that too bad. And then if we look at the Oilers D pairs, as many might know, right now it's Ekholm, Bouchard. That's going to be locked in at least for the next year. Nurse, Kulak, and then Jake Wallman and Ty Emerson. It looks like Ty Emerson is also signed for next year. If we do look at that, yeah, he is signed actually two more years. So not bad at all for the Edmonton Oilers in my opinion. So we also have NHL Free Agency. Mitch Marner is off the board. Brad Marchand is off the board when I'm recording this. So the Oilers do have a lot of work to get done to fill in those forward gaps, and not for a lot of money. So that should be interesting. So everyone, Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Let me know in the comments, do you think this Evan Bouchard deal is very good? Is it a steal for the Oilers? Is it a win, or is it a win for Evan Bouchard? Let me know about all in the comments. We are going to be covering everything Edmonton Oilers for the foreseeable future in the offseason and the free agencies tomorrow. So we got a lot coming out for you guys. So if you did enjoy the video, make sure you guys subscribe and like, and we will of course see you in the next one. Peace out and have a good one. Bye for now.